Hello and welcome to Secondary Maths Manipulatives. This is a short video just to answer the question, what actually are algebra tiles? Seeing an example of how algebra tiles are used may not be enough to understand them if you've never used them before. Some non-math specialists have been asking me about the quadratic part of my last video. The question they've been asking is, if we're trying to make a rectangle here, why can't we bring the units up along here and try to form a different rectangle? And I'm pretty sure some students will be asking that too. So if you don't know the answer to this question, then please do not use algebra tiles. At least don't use them for factorizing until you do know the answer. Manipulatives are supposed to support students in making a mental representation of the abstract world. If a student is just confused, you're wasting your time and theirs. But thankfully, the explanation is pretty simple. Each tile represents an area. The small yellow tile here is a square of length and width of 1 unit. So therefore its area will be 1 unit squared. The red tile represents the additive inverse, so that will represent -1. The green tile is a rectangle here with a width of 1 unit here. However, if we try to fit the units along the length of this, we will see that it doesn't fit exactly a certain number of tiles. This is done deliberately so students don't associate this tile with a certain number. We then explain to the students that this tile can be any value and we're going to call it x. So the area here is x. I also think using algebra tiles helps students to move away from writing 1x when they're doing anything with algebra and start using x instead. Another way I like to explain it is to get a piece of elastic and show students that the x can stretch and it can also shrink. Therefore, emphasizing a little bit more that it is a variable. I'm going to talk a little bit more about this in my next video though. We also then have the red tile that is negative, or the additive inverse, which represents -x. We then have our blue tiles, which are squares again. The length is x and the width is x. X and x. So the area is x squared. We then have its additive inverse, which is going to give you -x squared. So these are the 3 tiles, or 6 tiles rather, that you're going to be using. You can get students to play around with them before any of these explanations if you want to. They will then probably discover that you cannot fit a certain amount of units along one of the x's. So just to let you know where I bought these from, I got my algebra tiles from TTS. I'll put a link in the description. I know that you can also buy them from Complete Maths. Also, you can make your own homemade ones like I have here. There are many templates online that you can download. I would recommend making sure though that you check that the unit tiles don't fit exactly into the length of the x, otherwise you may confuse students a little more. You can either label these as x on one side and -x on the other side, or just get a different colour for the other side.